The innovator, the game changer, a man who in 18 months went from an unknown rapper to one of the biggest hip hop stars in the world and an icon of Brooklyn drill. Let's get into the legend of Pop Smoke. Bashar Baraka Jackson, aka Pop Smoke, was born on July 20th, 1999 in Brooklyn, New York, to his mother, Audrey Jackson, and his father, Greg Jackson. Now, growing up, Pop Smoke and his family, they would often attend church, and Pop Smoke would sing in the church choir, and he would also play the African drums. But see, even though he came up in the church, he still had trouble at school because Pop Smoke ended up attending 9 different schools. And he said part of the reason was because people would follow him. Like, he had so much charisma and so much influence that the other kids would follow him. So he said that the teachers labeled him as like a gang leader or something. And in the 8th grade, Pop Smoke would be expelled from school because he bought a firearm. And this caused him to be on house arrest for the next 2 years as well. But he was able to relocate to Philadelphia, where he enrolled in Rock Top Academy, a basketball prep school, because see, Pop Smoke could really ball. I know y'all probably seen him in the movie, was it called Boogie? Where he was playing a basketball player, but even in real life, he had a little bit of skills, and he was supposed to attend that school to prepare him for college, but during the physical, they ended up finding out that he had a heart murmur. And this, pretty much just disqualified him from the program, and they had to send him back home to Brooklyn. So there he was, back in his normal surroundings and back to the streets, back with his gang, the Woos. But even through all the turmoil that Pop Smoke faced in school, he still managed to graduate. But after graduation, he was kind of like left in limbo. He wanted to go to school and hoop, but his heart murmur condition kept him from doing that. So he was right back on the streets. But see, fate and destiny has a way of making things happen, because he had a friend by the name of Jay Guapo, and Pop Smoke would really just, hang around him and go to the studio. See, Pop Smoke didn't grow up as like a rapper. He didn't grow up sharpening his skills. It's something that just came naturally. When they say like stars are born, they're not made, that's true when it comes to Pop Smoke, because one night in the studio, his friend fell asleep, and he was high. He fell asleep high as hell. And Pop Smoke, was like, well, instead of wasting the studio time, let me just put my voice on some of these beats just to see how it sound. And that's what he did. And when he did it, magic happened. He let other people around the neighborhood hear it, and everybody loved it. And he kept on recording songs. And eventually, he got a hold of beats by a London producer named 808 Mello. And he started using these beats without 808 Mello's permission. But see, the thing is, once the producer found out about this artist using his music without permission, he didn't trip, because he loved Pop Smoke's sound. And really what he wanted to do was just link up with him. And him and Pop Smoke started exchanging information through YouTube, exchanging beats, until, it came time for Pop Smoke to just send for 808 Mello out from London and fly him out to New York. And that's when they recorded the iconic mixtape, Meet the Woo. And this album would spawn hits like Welcome to the Party and Dior. These was banging in the UK and in the United States. People over in London was just appreciating that their sound was being heard on a mainstream level. And, back in Brooklyn, they finally had a real superstar that can, hold the flag for the movement. And 2019, man, that was Pop Smoke's year. He ended up making friends with a producer by the name of Rico Beats, and he put him in touch with a record producer by the name of Steven Victor. And that's when he signed a deal with Victor Worldwide, and that was right up under Universal. So Pop Smoke was already bubbling on his own, but now he had the push of a major label behind him. So he would be able to take his star power to the next level. And his song Welcome to the Party, it ended up being remixed by Nicki Minaj and by Skepta. Skepta's out of London. He had a lot of respect out there, so that's a big deal to have that remix by him out there. And of course, we all know Nicki Minaj. She's a superstar. And from like October of 2019 to December 2019, he released songs like War with Lil TJ and 100K on the Coupe with Callboy. And Pop Smoke had the world in the palm of his hands. From his voice, the dance moves, even his name had everybody's attention. And actually his name comes from two things. His grandmother, growing up, she would call him Papa. And his friends, they had a nickname for him where they would call him Smoke or Guap. So he just combined the two and came up with the name Pop Smoke. And now everybody in the industry was taking notice of the new rising star. And he began to work with people like Quavo, Travis Scott. They had a song called Gatti. That was another Billboard Top 100 hit. And he also started to form a friendship with 50 Cent. And I think they just had a mutual respect for each other. And I think 50 Cent seen him with a lot of talent and as a rising star and wanted to mentor him. And I think Pop Smoke just had respect for everything that 50 Cent had accomplished in the game. And actually 50 Cent did an interview where he spoke on the first time he met Pop Smoke and how he was trying to give him game. But he said the whole time he was talking, Pop Smoke had his head down. And he was like kind of getting mad, like, yo, I'm trying to talk to this dude. He got his head down. So he said eventually he was like, yo, man, I'm talking to you. And he said Pop Smoke just looked up at him and was like, yo, I'm writing down everything that you're saying. So he was really trying to absorb the game and gain knowledge and really take his career to the next level. And Pop Smoke looked to start 2020 the same way that he ended 2019, on top. And he released a single called Christopher Walken. But right after he dropped this single, he ended up getting arrested as he was returning from Paris Fashion Week. And they say that he stole somebody's Wraith and took it from California all the way to New York. Now, allegedly, the story goes, Pop Smoke met some kind of businessman in the studio while he was recording his album. And they came to an agreement that the man would get VIP treatment at Pop Smoke's concert in return for letting Pop Smoke use his Wraith for a music video. But they're saying Pop Smoke never returned it, put the vehicle on a flatbed, and took it all the way from Cali to New York. The vehicle ended up being tracked down in front of Pop Smoke's mom's house, but Pop Smoke denied all the allegations. And he said what really happened was the police was trying to get him to snitch on different gangs around New York and try to question him about different shootings and things like that had occurred. But Pop Smoke didn't say anything, and he was released on $250,000 bond, and he was actually put on court supervision, and he had to submit drug tests as well, and they wouldn't let him do any concerts around gang members. Like, they said he couldn't be around gang members at all, so that kind of hindered his performances around New York because a lot of gang members would show up. And the cops would try to say that Pop Smoke was a member of the 823 G-Stone Crips. Now, Pop Smoke would allude to this somewhat in interviews. He would say things like, I'm not going to stop rapping until I get 823 million. So he was definitely slick with the way that he repped the gang. But even with this legal issues going on, Pop Smoke didn't let it stop his wave. And on February 7th, 2020, he dropped the highly anticipated Meet the Woo 2. And that debuted at number 7 on the Billboard Top 200. And along with that, Pop Smoke announced on social media that he was going to be going on tour. That was going to start in March in the US and end in April in the UK. And as a way to celebrate all of the good things that was coming his way, he decided to take it to the West Coast, out in Beverly Hills, and live it up. Him and his brother, Mike D, it was really his friend, but Pop Smoke would often describe him as his brother, and they were flexing on Instagram and, just showing the good life out in Cali. But see, Pop Smoke made a mistake when he received a care package from a fashion designer who had sent him some clothes. When he was showing it on Instagram, he also showed the address, and this would prove fatal. Because on February 19th, 2020, after a party that Pop Smoke had at the house he was renting in the Hollywood Hills at about 4:30 a.m., 5 men came to the home trying to rob it, and they just so happened to come to the area that Pop Smoke was at. And once Pop Smoke seen him, he went to get his gun, but one of the men already had the drop on him and shot him twice in the chest. Now, all 5 of these individuals would later be caught. Their names are Corey Walker, Keandre Rogers, Jaquan Murphy, and 2 unnamed juveniles whose information wasn't released because they were underage, but they were all charged with murder of Pop Smoke. Now, one thing that these individuals had in common is that they were all Hoover Crips, aka the Hoovers, aka the criminals. Now, who these guys are? They are an infamous and notorious gang in Los Angeles, and they're a set of Crips, but see, a lot of them drop the monarchy of Crip and they just go by either the Hoovers or the criminals because they started to have so much beef within the Crip sets that they was like, well, we just going against Crips. We might as well not even be Crips. So a lot of the guys don't even add the Crip onto their name, but they're definitely ruthless and they're definitely notorious. And the B&E game out in Cali, man, that's a big business. They often lurk on celebrity pages and see how they moving, see when they not gonna be home, trying to get the drop on them, trying to hit a lick. So a lot of times when these celebrities are flexing online, they don't know that the wolves are watching. And unfortunately, this incident cost us the life of one of the brightest stars in the hip-hop game. And it would be a lot of conspiracy theories around the death of Pop Smoke. Some people said that it was the businessman's, the wraith that he took, that the businessman wanted revenge on him, so he sent some people after him. Some people said that his best friend Mike D set him up. I don't believe none of that, honestly. I think this is what happened. Pop Smoke made an error, by showing his address, and people who be on that type of time, man, they seen it and tried to take advantage of it, but unfortunately, it cost Pop Smoke his life. I mean, his brother, he has a big brother named Obesi. He did say that Pop Smoke was receiving death threats, like right before his death, but they could never find out where it came from, so who knows. But what I do know is Pop Smoke had a lot more to say. And yeah, people may know him for like Dior and representing the Wu, but I believe he had a conscience. And even though he was a young guy, he often spoke on helping the youth and showing them a way out of poverty and out of the hood and doing it in a positive manner. Matter of fact, check out this clip real quick.
I'ma give like a message to my young niggas, you feel me? Like niggas like us coming where we come from, we can't afford to fuck up. We can't afford to slip up, make no mistakes, you heard? Because they watching and they want us to. You know what I'm saying? We got all odds against us.
But even in death, Pop Smoke's legacy would continue to grow. And on July 3rd, 2020, he released his first official album titled Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. And this album was a success all over the world. It went #1 in several different countries. It was on top of the Billboard 200, the Billboard Hot 100. I mean, and all 19 songs charted. Like, that's incredible to have every song on your album go to the charts. He had songs like What You Know About Love and For the Night with Lil Baby and Da Baby. I actually really like that song. And this whole album was oversaw by 50 Cent. He did it free of charge, just on the strength of the love he had for Pop Smoke. And he also said that Pop Smoke would talk about one of his dreams was to take his mom to an award show. So I think 50 Cent's gonna make that happen, man. And unfortunately, we lost an incredible talent, somebody I feel that could have really made a good change in the world if given the opportunity. But unfortunately, he was taken away from us way too soon. But if it's one piece of advice I feel like all of us can take from Pop Smoke, is no matter what goal you have in life, when you set that goal, you gotta shoot for the stars and aim for the moon. And Pop Smoke was only 20 years old when he died, man. Rest in peace, King.